This is Sturgeon from Leftover Crack, and we're celebrating 10 years of Constructs of the State. You're watching Crash and Bleed.
11 years. Yes.
This is our third time video calling. Do you realise that?
Third time, second record. 10th hour.
Yeah, man. So jumping straight in then, Fuck World Trade comes out. Do you jump straight onto the Fat Records radar? Did you notice Fat Records was sniffing around after that album came out?
Yeah, those motherfuckers, they were sniffing like rude dogs in the dog park, you know what I mean? No, it was like every label that we've been on, except for Hellcat was kind of like our pursuit usually. Like I tried to get on Alternative Tentacles before Hellcat had anything to say. The word was Joe Baffert did not like ska music, which tells me two things. He didn't listen to our band at all, and I already knew he didn't have good taste in music. It just I didn't just know how bad his taste in music was till I was on the label and saw how he operated. But he can hum a tune because he did write a lot of those Dead Kennedy songs by humming them.
So, at any point, was Deadline or any of the Star Fucking Hipster records written to be the third Leftover Crack album?
That's a good question. Deadline contained. I gave Leftover Crack a choice between a few songs, and I knew they would pick the easiest song to learn and play. It was kind of like strategic. I was like, these guys are lazy. I know what song they're going to pick because this other song's like, it's like harder to learn. It's going to take them longer. I give them the choice between Zombie Christ and Life Causes Cancer. And Zombie Christ is obviously the better song, but Life Causes Cancer, I knew they would take because it's the same chords as a couple other Leftover Crack songs, and it's the same thing over and over again. I knew they didn't want to spend time working on it. It's just it's unfortunate, but it's how that band operated. Give them convenience or give them death.
I liked both those songs pretty equally. Actually, maybe I like Life Causes Cancer a little bit better. It's more fun, I think.
Oh, yeah. Then Zombie Christ?
Yeah, Zombie Christ is faster. It's got the faster choruses, maybe, but I don't know.
I think
like
Zombie Christ is more fun than... Lyrically, at least, it's more fun than Life Causes Cancer. Oh, what do you think of Ezra's lyrics on Life Causes Cancer? That's a good question.
Well, they don't make any sense when you listen to it.
Right. We isolated the vocals, and I'm talking to Ezra over the phone for some reason. I don't remember. I must have been in Los Angeles or wherever the fuck I was finishing the art or something, and I'm doing the lyrics for Deadline, and I'm like, Ezra, I need your lyrics. I need to put them in the lyric sheet. He's like, I don't have them, and I'm like, well, can you listen to it and figure out what they are? We isolated it, we slowed it down, we played it every which way you could. Nobody could decipher what he was saying. He's just mumbling, slurring his words. He said something, tra la 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 la. I'm like, what? And I know what he's talking about for a second because we were in England, and we were in some mall or something going through a department store to get to another part of a mall, and they're selling canned air, canned oxygen that was like flavored. Me and Brad Logan, it was like $1 or something. We got one each, and then we're playing a show, and that's really hot, and we tried it, and you couldn't really breathe better. But he's talking about the canned air for a second. I can tell that's what he's saying, but I can't tell what words he's talking about, how he's saying it. And the fact that he was fine with, it's I would be embarrassed to have those lyrics on the record. To be that fucked up on a record that I don't even know what I'm saying. And literally, I had a second verse for that song that was good, and he said, "No, I got it." and I'd already done my vocals. He did his. Amazingly though, he was really fucked up. He played some of the best guitar in that song in all of Leftover Crack. I mean, his solo and all his stuff is just like he made that stuff up the morning that he recorded the vocals later. But it's very inspired, I think. Like, and Ezra's always been, I feel like, the best musician or one of the best musicians that's been in Leftover Crack. And like, I can't deny that, but he's such a good musician that I feel like his songwriting suffered, because when you can play anything, like literally any piano part or any guitar part, you always hear room for improvement. You get tired, you get like bored with your song the way it is. The way it's like, it's already good. It's great. But if you can overwrite a song and then it becomes kind of like meandering, and it's like it doesn't connect with me, at least, and I think it doesn't connect with our fans as much as we thought it might. I don't know. So let's talk about this goddamn record.
Yeah, let's talk about the record, man.
All right.
So 10 years of Constructs of the State.
Good old 11 years ago. 7 years ago. Plus 4. 4 years ago and 7 equals 10. What? I don't even know. When did this come out? What date did this come out?
2015.
What year? What date?
I think August.
Who releases a record in August?
I don't know.
Not any band that wants to like sell records. I don't know. It seems like a bad time to sell records. I don't know why.
I might be wrong, but can you remember what the oldest song is? Because I think there's 2 no commercial value songs on this one. Yeah.
No, there's more than. Well, let's see. 1, 2. There's 3 Leftover Crack songs on this record. Can you guess which they are?
I think there's.
There's 3.
If you need to control, you need to be cruel. In a world that's centered around your tool. Engine number 9 on the New York Trains line. As if you actually give a fuck. Get up.
Archaic Subjugation was called My Own God. And it was on our demo.
I didn't know that.
And as a matter of fact, the lyrics, I feel like we kept a little bit of the lyrics, but I'd have to look at the lyrics to remember. And it's because Olivia, the singer in No Commercial Value, wrote. I felt like her part that she wrote was really good. She mainly wrote the lyrics for this song. Actually, as a matter of fact, I didn't write any lyrics on the original song. I actually do this really embarrassing moan because she talks about masturbating, and I go, oh, and it's like, very, like, I have a lot of cringeworthy things on old records of mine, but that's in the top 3, I'd say.
So what are you thinking when you go all the way back, however many years, like 25 years in the past, to pull that song back?
This came out in 2015. No Commercial Value was like 91. And we recorded it, say 2014. So yeah. It's 20. Wow, it's 24, 3 years, something like that. Yeah. You're close. A quarter of a century, practically. What am I thinking when I go back to that? I'm thinking that was a great song. We never recorded it well, and we happened to. I think Olivia had gotten in touch somehow, and we like were talking. She lived in Los Angeles, and so we met up for lunch in on Sunset Boulevard, kind of near Epitaph, and although that had nothing to do with the record, but we met over there, and I think she lived nearby, kind of, and I asked her if we could use, a couple of the songs that she wrote lyrics for, and if we could use some of her lyrics, and first I asked her if she would come and sing them, and she wasn't interested in doing that, but she was definitely okay with us re-recording lyrics of hers on songs that we did together, and and she's credited, and I actually really like. It kind of gives me an odd joy to credit somebody from a long time ago that I was friends with that I haven't seen forever, but they really helped me out, like to find a creative path in the music that I played, and also, helped me do this band that, without her, it was kind of her idea. So when she heard that I played guitar, she was like, "All right, you're the guitar player. My boyfriend's the drummer. We just need to find a bass player, and we'll start a band." And she gave me a tape. I think she gave me a tape with Operation Ivy that had just come out. I think that was 89, 90. And she gave me some other bands. I think she gave me Penis Envy by Crass. And she's like, listen to these records. They're gonna, we're gonna incorporate this into what we play. And, honestly, I love both of them. I would say Penis Envy is definitely the best Crash record, hands down, lyrically and musically, and conceptually. So she wrote this song, and so Archaic Subjugation is basically about religion, which is what My Own God was about. And the lyrics, I could tell you what the lyrics were that she wrote, and I'd probably figure out what we used. But,
Well, let me ask you this. How are you keeping a hold of the lyrics from that long ago? Do you keep them all safe somewhere?
Well, yeah, I mean, I literally have a stack. I don't know if you've ever seen a copy of the No Commercial Value demo tape.
No. I've seen that
So-
incorrect picture, like we talked about last time.
Right. Here, give me 1 second. I might have one right on the shelf. If I don't, I'll be back. I literally have a stack of these things. There's one place I can check real quick right here. I know where they're. No, I moved it from there. Man, it's a giant envelope. It's impossible to miss. All right, you know what? I'll find it, and then I'll show it to you later. But so to make the cassette, I just copied the cassette everywhere. I had like a double cassette deck. It's a very short demo. I think it's probably all said and done. It's probably 20 minutes long, and if there was more room on it, I put 2 extra songs I recorded on my 4-track, which were called War Story and Hate Your State. But the version of Hate Your State was the same lyrics, but different music altogether. That we revisited recently, but decided it wasn't good enough to put on the new record. But War Story, note for note, is the same as the one that we recorded. Whoops, sorry. That was actually a No Commercial Value song. We did record it, but we didn't get copies of that. The master tapes.
Oh, okay.
The guy that recorded it got in trouble with them and never got the tape back.
All right. So Archaic Subjugation.
So the lyrics, to answer your question, sorry, I put the art on one side of it and I made it so I folded it over, and I might have had to cut it with one of those big arm things, maybe to cut the edges off to make it fit in the cassette, into the plastic cassette. And I folded it, and I folded it, and folded it until I stuffed it in there. So it was like one side of paper, folded and folded, barely could fit the cassette in it. Wrote it in marker, the name of the cassette, smashed it together, and, charged $2 for it or something, or gave them away. So I still have a stack of those. I have 40 of those copies. If I ever made 40 more cassettes, I could just fold those up and put it in there, but I don't imagine I'm ever going to do that.
Could you possibly send me one?
Yes, if you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will go and do the customs form and all that shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. That would be incredible.
I would like to impart that to anybody that wants me to write them back or wants to send me something to sign and wants it back. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I will, if it's out of the country, I will do the customs form, but it's your responsibility to weigh it.
Yeah, well, we'll work something out, man. But do you feel that you kind of boxed yourself in a little bit when you had to do the intro to the Leftover Crack records, because we didn't get that this time? Were you just sick of doing that?
Wait, you said I bucked myself in?
Like boxed yourself in? Like feeling like you had to do the intro every time?
I couldn't see your mouth, so you were like, Spitguard Books. That's like Bucks. All right, but you ever play Buck Hunter? Amazing game. All right, I'm just kidding. I don't feel like I boxed myself in now.
All right.
I feel like I just did it like that. All right, cringe in my top 5 cringe moments. The intro to Our Side of Deadline.
I kind of like that though. It's funny.
Definitely in my maybe top 7 because it's probably more things I'm embarrassed of than I want to believe or think about. It's kind of funny, but not really. And also, every time you listen to that record, that's gonna happen. And it's like, that's boxing yourself in. Doing something like that that's not that good, and like now it's stuck there on the record forever. Yeah, that's regretful.
You can skip it on the CD, but I never skip it because I like it. It's a great intro to Baby Punchers. So
Yeah,
the other no commercial value song was Corrupt Vision. Could you talk about?
That's the second of 3.
Yeah. So what was the reason for bringing that one back?
Well, that was always one of the best no commercial value songs. Well, first of all, it's kind of a cover. You know, the rap group Black Sheep.
No, but I know the vocal melody because it's been used a lot of times. That intro.
Which one?
The
engine number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that dun 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 dun. You should give it a listen on. I don't know if you put songs on your podcast, but you should play like a little bit of "The Choice Is Yours" by Black Sheep.
Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up. Back on the scene.
I think like Tribe Called Quest, Flow in Theory wouldn't have happened without the Black Sheep doing that song, and they were part of the same crew and all that. Anyways, why I do it? That was a song where I felt like I found my voice for Choking Victim. If you listen to the demo of The Choice Is Yours off of No Commercial Value, it's the first time I kind of used that like gruff, like the choice is yours. Like I do, I start singing like that. You can get with this, you can get with that, you can get this, you get that. Before that, I hadn't done that yet. I kind of sang with my like teenage weird voice that everybody thought. To this day, I'll call up like customer service anywhere, and they'll call me ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. We have to put you on hold. I'm like, okay, not, I'm not a lady, but I'm also, and I explaining non-binary to the person that's gonna put you on hold for an hour, anyways. So, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so Olivia heard these like test mixes. I imagine. Like, did she approve of them?
Oh no, I mean, she said that she didn't. She said she trusted me. Is fine. Once we were done with the record, I gave her a copy. Like we were done mixing it, I gave her a copy of the record, but it wasn't pending her approval. She already gave me her approval of that. That that we could use her lyrics, and I made sure that we got her, her information so that she would get, royalties from co-writing the song, and she didn't even really want that, but I don't like to not credit people where credit's due, especially when it's someone that was so integral to like teaching me about punk and like the importance. Like if it wasn't for her, I might not even be in a political punk band. She was also into goth music, but I already was into that too. But we could have been like, just like Joy Division or Bauhaus, kind of doing that kind of thing, talking about spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like, Zombie Crush is kind of my attempt at like a spooky Halloween kind of song. Misfits meets, whatever.
Well, okay. So the other big no commercial value. Sorry, what I need to take a look at the name.
The third song will be No Commercial Value.
Yeah, the third song I can't read it because it's like I guess it's Spanish, but that's Olivia's big song, isn't it? Originally, I think called Penis Scar.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. Ding, 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 ding. How'd you figure that out when you thought there was only 2? Oh, you didn't know Archaic Subjugation was My
That's
Own
the
God.
one. Yeah.
Have you heard Penis Scar?
Yes, because I've
Okay.
heard that demo a bunch of times. I actually really like the demo.
Okay, so you know My Own God, and you know The Choice Is Yours,
Yeah.
right?
Well, my own God is very slow on the demo, so I guess because of the speed, I just wasn't putting it
Oh,
together.
yeah. Drugs will fuck your head up, man. Just say no to speed, man. I'm just kidding. um, You're driving really fast. It's dangerous. Don't drink and drive.
So, what was the reason for reworking the song Penis Scar?
Well, when I do a record, I want it to be the best record possible. And I feel like I often struggle with the songs I have to to envision it as a full record. I mean, really, Constructs of the State, we did a lot of there's a lot of outsourcing. Like I used songs that I co-wrote with other bands. Last Legs is a Blackbird Realm song that has them on it, and I think I wrote like a line or two of vocals, but it was their tune. I just wanted, whenever I do a record, I want it to be the best record. Like I want, like I don't want people to get the new record and listen to it and say, "Oh, this is nowhere near as good as the other records." I want them to at least be in the same realm of like quality, right? And I feel like that Constructs of the State stands up to. I mean, I feel like it's better than Mediocre Generica personally, but other people would debate that. Mediocre Generica is not a full record. I feel like it's got a lot of filler, like piano parts that go on for like 3 minutes, stuff like
Well,
that.
Well, the canon in D thing is incredible, and the way it leads into Crack City Rockers. I mean, that puts the album a little bit ahead of Constructs for me, just because I love
Yeah.
that song so much.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And Fuck World Trade was cool because it also had. I really like when there's in between stuff that leads into the next song. It's like different. And we didn't do that really on Constructs that much, but the next record I plan on doing that. I have a lot of music. Like I can write a song a day if I needed to, but I really haven't written new songs. Like I'll write one a month because I have to, because it just is there. But lyrics come slower because I like to research everything, and I have enough like people that hate me that I don't want to give them any fodder in the lyrics to like this, like what do you call it? My words are failing me, to like discredit the politics by talking about how like, oh, there's like, this isn't factual, there's these errors or whatever, like spelling errors, anything. I mean, we kept some of the well, all right, so that was a song that me and Alec wrote when we were still in high school. It's one of the first songs we wrote. And he wrote more of it. Like he wrote like the whole. I think without him, that song would have been garbage. Really, I didn't write much of it, but it's these are songs that we wrote when we were teenagers, and I feel like that's a great example of a song. There's songs that he wrote that are like I could never write in a million years, like Five Finger Discount, and like Crack Rock City is just Peasant Shane practicing Five Finger Discount over and over. There's a lot of songs like we really. What I learned as I got older is that, especially from Starfucking Hipsters, is that my favorite songs are always going to be the collaborations. The ones that I came up with on my own are not nearly as interesting to me or listenable as the songs that I didn't rightfully write the full part of. There's something about like when it comes from yourself, you're gonna second guess it, and there's nothing surprising about it, and it's not really that enjoyable. I mean, especially as I get older, I want to listen to songs that I wrote less and less. I don't even want to perform a lot of songs that I wrote, but I definitely enjoy listening to and performing songs that I co-wrote with other people.
Yeah.
So
So
Tina
okay,
Scott's a great.
so what was the reason to bring that song back then? Why bring it back after all of these years?
Well, I mean, part of it was that I wanted. It was a great song, I thought, and I felt like we could really do something with it. And I really loved like My Own God and Penis Ska were songs that Olivia wrote pretty much all the lyrics for. I wrote my verse in Penis Ska, but it's the weakest part of the song, really. Um, and I thought that her lyrics deserved to be heard. Um, Olivia wrote lyrics that I feel like are unrivaled, and she was like, she had a unique perspective. It was like feminism with this different take on it that was like more empowered. I feel like than most feminism, you know, and I felt that those lyrics were great and that they shouldn't. If I like the song, the lyrics and the music came together, you know, and I wasn't gonna call it Penis Ska. Honestly, I couldn't think of a better title in time, so I just named it Poliamor Fiesta Crack.
Which translates to what?
Um, you know what polyamory is?
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
okay.
It means like basically polyamorous crack party. I would say sex party, but you know, you could just take it as it could be a social situation.
Yeah. It sounds like a great name for an album as well. Maybe you missed a chance there of naming the album.
What's the Spanish? The Spanish or the English version?
Well, the Spanish with the English translation, so people knew what it was.
Well, you know, I feel like anybody that wants to know what it means, they can type it into their damn phone. You know what I mean? If they're too lazy to figure that out, then maybe they should start a podcast and bother the musicians that wrote it. I guess. I'm just kidding. Joking.
All right.
I'm
So,
joking.
are there any tracks on Constructs that were written for Choking Victim? Anything rejected from Choking Victim?
Good question. No, I don't think so. Because I feel like I didn't try to get any of these songs. Definitely on other records. There's other like on other leftover crack records. There's definitely songs that were rejected that Squirt didn't want to do. That I didn't even argue with it. I was like, I knew I already was saving songs. I was like, cool, that'll be on my next record without Squirt.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything on this that strikes me as a song. To be honest, though, I did one. Choking Victim was supposed to be called No Commercial Value, but when Sasha, the bass player, he came on first to play because Alec went to Agent 99. He said he'd play with us only if we changed the name of the band. So I had to find a name. So that's when I came up with Choking Victim. So technically, all of the songs should have been Choking Victim songs in a way. I don't know.
So okay. So are all these tracks brand new then, aside from the No Commercial Value?
No. Archaic. All right. Brand new. I mean, Don't Shoot. I wrote literally right after Deadline. Whenever that came out, I wrote Don't Shoot. So that's probably 8 years earlier. First song I wrote that I wanted for like a band. I don't know why we didn't use it in Start Fucking Hipsters.
Well,
Nobody
okay.
knows.
Funny you mention that. It sounds like there's on the backing vocals, on the group vocals, on the choruses. It sounds like Nico. Is that Nico on there?
No. I'm trying to think who it is. No, it'd be Kate Koish from that sings. She's the female vocalist on most of the stuff on Constructs. So the drums on that song are weird, and it's kind of slow because I was using GarageBand for the first time, and I used their like drum machine in the thing, and literally the fastest beat back then, this is like in the 2000 aughts, was that beat. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. That's the closest to a punk beat that you could get from GarageBand in like 2006 or 7. And so I have that as fast as it'll go. And putting like fills in it was weird. So the fills are in weird spots, but it kind of makes the song cool where the dude, this is such weird shit that how it came together that I just kept it that way. And we might have like sped it up even when we recorded it as a band, but still it's slower than other songs. Well, Heartache, it goes back to SFH because I remember I recorded a very slow version of it with Ara playing drums, and it almost sounds like a country song. The thing is that the verse chords are like, for me, it's like a weird chord changes. They're weird. It's kind of like a weird start, stop, and where you play it is odd for me. It's not like how I usually write songs, so I learned it slow, and Ara played kind of slower drums, and I don't know. The vocal melody is on the guitar, and it sounds like a country song. But I know it's from that era. It's from at least like 2008, because that's when I started playing music with Ara again, when we were like getting ready to do Until We're Dead.
Oh, okay.
Or we were done with it, maybe, and he didn't last very long in the band after that record was recorded.
Did Jesse hear that previous Leftover Crack song where you took the shot at Rancid by saying Unity? Ha! Like,
oh yeah.
Was he aware of that?
He heard Gamer Boys Unite. His take on it at first was that he thought he couldn't tell if I was a fan or if I was like taking a shot at him. He couldn't tell. He thought he assumed that I was like being negative towards him, which wasn't the case. A good friend of mine and Jesse's that's actually on this record. His name's Miguel from Oakland. He's in the credits. He's also, I think, maybe on an SFH record. He introduced us, and I think he told Jesse, like, no, Sturgeon he loves Op Ivy. Like I always I never got to see Op Ivy live, but I did see Rancid when they started, and I had trouble finding songs I liked. Like I remember I saw them in this place called the Zoo Hill Pill House. It's like just a house show. They played in the living room, and there was maybe 20 people in there with the band included, and they played. The one song that was memorable was Hyena. You know that song?
Yeah.
It's on their first record, I guess, the one with the gun.
Yeah.
And I still like that song, and I still like songs of theirs. I personally think their best record that I've heard is Life Won't Wait, but that record is also the reason I wrote Gamer Boys Unite, because of Would You Bettin', and also it's I don't know, it was definitely not received well, although I think it's like their London Calling, which I think the Clash's best record is London Calling. It's got a lot of songs. It's a double album, and I feel like they did a good job of that. I don't think I like Rancid's punk songs. I like their ska songs or whatever, which they don't do a lot of. I always like the Time Bomb. I always thought that was a good song.
Yeah.
Ruby Soho, not so much.
Okay. Well, I just gotta say though, ever since I heard about the Leftover Crack Hellcat thing, I find Rancid more unbearable now as I get older. It's harder for me to keep listening to Rancid, so I listen to them a lot less now than I used to.
You know what? I nobody's ever told me that. Second of all, I actually I kind of feel like that makes me feel like a little bit of regret. Like I didn't really I didn't lump them in with those bands to get people not to listen to them. That wasn't my intention, but I just felt like my personal feelings were that there was an insincerity of theirs, sovereign insincerity, if you will. I don't even know if those words make sense together, but I just feel like I feel like when I was younger, definitely up until that point, like my mid-20s, I was more of a jerk, definitely, to people that I met, and I like to think that I mellowed out, and I've always I would I feel like if I saw Tim Armstrong again, I would want to be like, hey, I would apologize, but when you're like when you're a huge punk band and you portray yourself as like tough guys, they were like U.S. thugs. That was like their gang, and they're and it's just kind of like. But when you meet them, they were nicer than that, and I feel like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff when people tell me that if I ever have a problem on the record label, I can just call them anytime and they'll iron it out. And then when I have a problem on their label and I call them a million times and they never call me back, that's frustrating,
Yeah.
And I've been on a lot of labels since, with like Joe Biafra, dealt with Fat Mike, and honestly, of the three, Tim Armstrong is the most down to earth of the three. He's the least of a narcissist of the three, and out of the three, he listened the most. Whether he acknowledged that I was talking or not when we were room together, that's another story. But he definitely didn't spend our time together talking at me, and he seemed to like value what I had to say. And I think that I was more caught up in my. I think I was caught up in like being associated with him and not really wanting to be, I guess, at the time. And also, I don't know. I had like personal issues that I try to like look past at this point, and I feel like an idiot. I feel like an asshole and a jerk for like focusing on people that when they're the least of our problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never understood why Rancid didn't really resonate with me when I loved Op Ivy. And it's really, it's the bass player and guitar player from Op Ivy. It's half the band. And it's the two people that write the music. And then I met Jesse and hung out with him. And within probably 20 minutes, I understood why I loved Op Ivy. It was Jesse's, he bought, it didn't even have to be spoken. He bought like something to the band that was really down to earth and humble and like spoke to me, even though like they weren't like an overtly political band. They talked about social politics, and I don't agree with their politics a lot. It's very like kind of straight edgy sober stuff, and it's like I'm not that into that stuff. But at the same time, like somehow like almost like subconsciously or like it was in the lyrics, but it wasn't. It was just like I hate to use the word vibe, but there's something that Jesse gave to Ivy that was like it transcended the artwork, which I don't think the artwork's amazing. Transcended the artwork. It transcended the lyrics. It was unspoken, but it was all over that band and all over the record, And it was like he was the heart of that band, and without him involved, it just wasn't the same. You know what I mean? Like if Tim and Matt could have found a lyricist or a vocalist and lyricist, because it wasn't just the lyrics, it was also the delivery, and I don't know what it was. Like we didn't get any videos back then of Op Ivy. We hadn't seen them. I never read an interview with Op Ivy. I just knew it clicked when I met Jesse that he was the person that drew me to that band, and he's the one that like without I think all four of them without Dave Mello, right? It's Dave Mello.
I think
There's
so.
just two
Yeah.
Mello brothers. The Mello brothers, that band Schlong. Anyways, that's a great band too. But I think without all four of them, you wouldn't have had Op Ivy.
Mm.
So you ever see that Green Day / Gilman Street documentary?
They turn it around East Bay
Yes.
thing. Yeah, I did.
Did you
Yeah.
see it? You notice how when they talk about Op Ivy and then they make each member disappear, it looks like they died. Did you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was in the movie theater. This is kind of cool. This is like the height of like my Bay Area privilege was like going to the premiere of that movie at the Alamo Draft House on Mission Street in SF, and it's like most people that are in that film that are from the Bay Area are there, and it's like and Fat Mike had extra like guest list, so me and a friend went with him, and you know all of Kamala's doing merch there, and like Frank's not around. I don't know why he wasn't there, but I think he might have been playing with another band, like a show somewhere. But there's every one of these bands. Like the Bay Area punk scene is the where I found punk that I loved, from Dead Kennedys to all the Lookout records except for Green Day. I even like Pinhead Gunpowder, and I didn't know. That's another thing I didn't understand. Why do I like this band? It's the singer and vocalist of Green Day. I should like Green Day too, but no, Green Day does nothing for me. Whereas Pinhead Gunpowder is really good, I think, and that's because Aaron Cometbus, another person that really had a lot to do with the bands that he's in. Anyways, the point is, I don't know where I lost the thread, but we're talking about Gateway Boys Unite. I stand by that song. I'm surprised I wrote that because I'm not the. It's like Weird Al Yankovic is great at parodying songs, but also he's great at parodying styles. Like his original songs on his records are like the best one that I can think of is called "Dare to Be Stupid," which is the title track off of a record called "Dare to Be Stupid" he put out in the '80s, and it's a Devo song basically, but it's not. It's his own song, and I feel like I wrote "Gateway Boys Unite," and it was just the riff, it's like it's yelling in my ear and "Healthy Body, Sick Mind," but it's not either of those songs. But it's like in between, and it's like Op Ivy could have written it, maybe, except for the chorus. It doesn't really I don't know. It's not obviously not as good as an Op Ivy song, but
I like it better.
You like it better than Op Ivy?
I'm not a big
Like-
Op Ivy fan. I like
Oh, really?
Leftover
Okay.
Crack better.
Okay, well, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. But I think here's the thing about Op Ivy: when they came out, nobody had heard anything like it, and I feel like it transcended. Like there's certain records that transcend their genre, and I feel like almost every punk that heard Op Ivy liked it. Like I'd say 90%. I don't know. There's a lot still snobs that are in the more metal punk, and they're like fuck ska, right? But like another record like that is like Gorilla Biscuits, Start Today. I feel like that transcends straight edge and hardcore. It's like a record that when I was growing up, there's certain records you could put on at a party and everybody would like it. And there's like only a handful of records like that. So
Yeah. Well, let's move on then quickly because
Yes.
we don't want to run out of time. We've got Slave to the Throne next. You going all Slayer on this one?
we had two songs. This one was called Brad Slayer, and the other song was called Brad Sabbath. So we just released Brad Sabbath as a B-side for White Guilt Atrocity Quote. I don't know if you heard that yet.
No, I haven't heard that yet.
That's our new record that we put out 6 months ago or 8 months ago. Leftover Crack put out like a single basically, and the B-side is recorded with the lineup with Alec and Brad, and it's Brad Sabbath. So we had both those songs, and Brad Slayer I liked better for this record. I didn't feel like there's room for both, and so I saved the other one for later. I still have other songs. I still have like 4 songs that or 5 that weren't released on Constructs that were recorded at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Well, they have not been released yet, mostly.
Is there anything else we got to touch on that song, or should we move into Bedbugs?
No, I just Sleep to the Throne is like, to me, it sounds like older Slayer, and I feel like if it's again the parodying, it's like if you can make a song sound almost like Op Ivy, or you can make a song sound almost like Slayer, then but it's not plagiarizing them exactly, then you're doing a good job. Now, if you're gonna do a whole record like that, then I don't know, then it's a little bit like might get boring for me. But if one song's this and one song's that, I'm all for it. Yeah. I mean, I learned late that I didn't like metal initially like that much, but I learned through listening to thrash metal that's thrash metal got me into metal. So like Slayer and Skeleton Witch and Justice for All was the first record that I heard that was a thrash record that I loved. I think it's Metallica's best record. Anyways.
Yeah,
so I love Sleep to the Throne was great, and it's a collaboration, so I still like playing it,
Yeah. So Bedbugs and Beyond, then do you see that as a direct continuation of Infested? You always go back to it every now and then.
Yeah, Bedbugs and Beyond is like a I'm not good. There's a few things I'm not good at in my writing. I feel like I'm not that good at telling a story, and like a story in like chronology or whatever. I'm just not a good storyteller. I've never been. I mean, I feel like I'm telling you some stories, but like for sure, somebody could tell the same story in like half as many words and make it a way better story. I feel like the subject matter isn't necessarily boring, but it's I can make it boring by meandering on and going on tangents and shit, and like being unfocused, and so I'm just not good at it. I've never really liked singing about what's happening in the moment of like when I was riding freight trains a lot. I didn't feel comfortable writing a song about riding freight trains. And when I was like homeless and like eating out of the garbage all the time, I didn't really like to write about that. I didn't feel comfortable writing about it when I was doing it for some reason. Like, it's not that I don't eat out of the garbage occasionally, but it's not, my life doesn't revolve around it. You know what I mean? My life more revolves around music. I feel like in time, I feel okay about writing about certain things. Or there's songs that we recorded, like, that didn't make it on this album that I didn't feel comfortable releasing. And I still haven't released it because people that co-wrote it or people that are on the song died, and I just felt like I didn't want to be exploitative about it. Like, for instance, we have a song with Eric Peterson where he sings a verse, and that song's called "The Dead," and it was co-written by a band, Chewing on Tinfoil. I don't know if you're familiar with them, from Ireland. Like, Stu, the singer from that band, co-wrote that with me, and the song, that was the only song that was almost done, and it didn't make it on the record because it wasn't finished. And I feel like Constructs was done. I had enough songs, I had enough ska songs on it that I didn't need another one right then. The Dead's like a ska punk song. And to be fair, like, Eric hadn't died before we released the record, but he died soon after, and I haven't been in a hurry to release it because of that, I guess. I don't know I don't know if I like. I don't know. I haven't figured out if I should put it on a record. I feel like it should be maybe a benefit for something. I should talk to his widow and figure out if they want to release it or if they want it to benefit something in particular. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. I don't want to like do the wrong thing and regret it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so how old is Bedbugs?
It was one of the later songs that we wrote. I'm trying to picture writing it. Yeah. Yeah, it was like towards the end. I think we were already in the studio recording the record, and that was one of the later songs, like that. Vicious Constructs. There's a few songs. Live Luck was the last song we wrote. We'll get to that, but Bedbugs and Beyond. I don't know. It's like, there are people that in my life that have really truly fucked me over, and it's still resonating, and it's still making my life hard. And I didn't name names in that song, but the people that I talk about know who they are, and they started complaining at first when they realized what the song was about, and then they realized that nobody else knew who they were, so they stopped and kind of left me alone. You know what I'm saying? And there's no point. We don't need to name names, but it's like I'd say like most people that listen to the songs don't know anything about the history of the band or like who the people are, and I feel like that's better. It's better that like that. I didn't do it to call people out to make them look bad to the world. I just wanted them to know that I have my own way of revenge, and it's not like I'm not violent, and it's not gonna be like I'm not gonna fuck them over in the sense of like doing something shitty that I felt like they did really shitty things to me. But they'll know it when I revenge them, and I'll probably write about it, and they'll hear it. Probably someone that knows them and knows me will tell them, check the song out. Is it about you? Oh, fuck,
So okay, so you brought Kate Kush onto that song. Did she have any hesitation, like recording them lyrics? Was she like, "Oh, I don't want to fuck with anyone"?
Honestly, her verse the verse she sings isn't about anybody. Like it's about me, I guess. So I didn't put her in the position where she had to necessarily say anything offensive about anybody. But I definitely have put people in that position before.
Well, she sounds badass on that song. When she comes in, it's such a great moment.
Yeah.
It's the most fun song on the album, I think.
Yeah,
But-
I like it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now.
oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, okay. So I've talked about this in the past, like on other podcasts. There's a moment at the end of that song where it sounds like the mix completely changes, almost like
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
so what's happening there?
So that is what I got a test pressing of the record, and I gave it to this girl Emily that did sound at Gilman Street, and she's a sound person now, and she does like sound in big places. And she listened to it and said, "I heard a problem. One problem. She said there's an automation problem on Bedbugs and Beyond." And I was like, and I went to the guy mixing it, and said, "Hey, we need to fix this thing." And he said, "No, I'm done," because he wouldn't mix it when I was there in the room with him, and we had to go back and forth a bunch because I'm very particular. And by the time I got to that point where we noticed that problem, he didn't want to mix it anymore, and he's like, "No, I'm done." We've probably gone back and forth 10 times, but we also could have been in the same room mixing the song and done it in an afternoon, like in 3 hours. But that's one of the reasons I learned Pro Tools, and I'm recording this last record by myself or with the guitar player, with John in Leftover Crack, because this person wouldn't fix this mix. We fixed it for the video, but it was just like, honestly, when Emily said it's an automation mix, I didn't really understand what she was saying, and I also knew that the person mixing it wasn't gonna be happy to do anything else. I've never ever in my life listened to a test pressing and been like, anytime I've said, "Oh, this is fucked up," they've never been like, "Oh, we got to fix it." They've always been like, "It's so what? That's the record." I'm like, "All right, why did you call it test pressing? And why did you send it to me in advance if you didn't want my opinion on it?" Like, there's only two things. Our Side of Deadline sounded great before it was mastered, and Citizen Fish sounded terrible. like their mix was really thin. I was like, they sound like bad. It's just like there's no bass and no nothing. I was like, why does it sound so bad? And our side sounded like it sounded mastered. It sounded good. So whoever mastered it made the whole thing like more bassy and whatever, and it distorted our side a little bit. I don't know. I feel like if you listen to the Fat Records version of it or whatever, it's a little distorted. Our side doesn't sound that good. And Fist and Fish sound fine. They sound great, honestly. And I feel like if you listen to Leftover Crack, I just had them take the mastering off, and I think it sounds a lot better than the Deadline version.
Well, on that subject of that CD, we have the "So You Want to Be a Cop" song. I should have asked you this the last time. The ending of that song cuts off too soon. It sounds like there's maybe 10 more seconds of it. Did you notice this?
Wait, on the Leftover Crack?
Yeah, and on the Baby Jesus CD. So I'm guessing it's on the vinyl
So
as
You
well.
Want to Be a Cop? It's not on Baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus sliced up. So You Want to Be a Cop is on there.
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
So there's no way you can get it that has the end of the song.
No, wait. Oh yeah, I'm getting it mixed up with World War IV. What's that on?
That's on Deadline.
Okay, you're right. I'm getting them confused. No, I mean, if it cuts off on on Baby Jesus, this is how. Honestly, Ezra wrote the music for "So You Want to Be a Cop." I wrote my verses. I mix everything. It's like my say, except for when Ezra wrote World War IV, like the music. He wrote Gang Control, the music, and he wrote "So You Want to Be a Cop," and those were his songs. He played all the guitars on them, and he got to mix them. So the mixes will be a little bit different on those songs, but it was his call. That's how he wanted it to end. Apparently, like I didn't notice it cutting off early. I mean, it doesn't. I never noticed it.
It's very noticeable to me because it's like stop. It's just a dead stop.
Right, but it's like but the guitars are ringing out.
Yeah, but it stops. There's no end to it. It just goes bam, stop.
Yeah, but it doesn't go because it doesn't have the hit at the end, right? Bam.
No.
Like there's no drum hit, is what you're saying, basically.
Yeah, it just
that's
fully
the thing.
cuts off.
When I do a song, I'm like on the record and live, hit the kick and choke the cymbal. Just do it on any song. There's no reason not to do it. When songs fade out, I find I always wonder, all right, it's fading out. The drummer must have fucked up at the end. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there's great songs that fade out oddly. Like, I don't know if you listen to Elvis Costello.
Sometimes, off and on.
Check out a song called Beyond Belief. It's on a record called Imperial Bedroom. And it's on his greatest hits, his earlier ones. Listen to the end of that song. I think it's his best song. It's one of my favorite songs ever. It's a really weird song, but it fades out, and then at the very end it fades out really quick, really quiet, but really quick. I'm like, I think the drummer must have fucked up. But I think that So You Want to Be a Cop is just what Ezra wanted to do, I guess.
Well,
I mean, it was his job to pay attention to it. I've definitely listened to it and not noticed personally, but I'm used to it being whatever way it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'll check it out again, but if I remember. I don't know where my actual jacket for that record went. But Last Legs I could talk about. Maybe it'll be quicker this way, because I won't be looking at it distracted. Last Legs was a Blackbird Realm song, and it was on their record their most recent record at the time was called False Weavers. Or no, was it on False Weavers? It was on their. What's the name of that record? They did a record with this Irish band called fuck is the Irish? They're like an Irish folk band, I fucking can't remember their name either, but they like toured with them after, and that was their final record that they released. I remember the names of the songs on it. There's a really great song called Grist for the Mill. And I feel like we should have covered that, but Less Legs was great. I love that song, and I feel like Blackbird Round and Chewing on Tinfoil are two of the most underrated bands that I've had the honor to play with, and to this day. And I felt like if I did their songs, that maybe more people would check them out.
Right.
Even though nobody's heard the Chewing on Tinfoil one yet. But I wanted the record to be I wanted the record to be as good. I was trying to rival our previous releases, and I didn't feel like I had the songs for it without pillaging the commercial value and getting songs. And I figured, like, instead of covering a song that I love by some famous band that people already know the song of, or they have plenty of money, I have friends that write amazing songs that people aren't that aware of. I'll just use their songs, and then they'll get some money from the record and whatnot, and hopefully people will check them out. It just made sense, so I thought it was a good idea to use that song. I love it, and again, a song I didn't write, so I enjoy it more. I enjoy listening to it more.
Do people want to hear that one live?
I've heard it requested a few times, but I don't think it's like overwhelmingly. I have this bad habit of making a video for a song that we never play. A few times we've done that. like what was it? Like System Fucked. Like, you've heard me tell you that it was out of our range for me and Jesse both couldn't sing in the key of that song. But I had already recorded the song with the band, and there was nothing I could do about it. So we both struggled to sing it. And so we never play it because it's like, we never thought of like changing the key. That was like a new concept, which we actually did on Last Legs. We changed the key way far. It's like practically there's 12 notes, and each note's a half step. It is as far from the original notes as it could be. It's like 6 steps away from it. It's like, something like that. I don't know. And I still felt like it was hard to sing.
Well, speaking of original notes, I'm hearing a lot of Life Causes Cancer in The Lie of Luck. Which comes next. Are you directly going back to that riff?
Well, Lie of Luck was originally going to be, it was something that I wrote during the last SFH tour. Like the last one with the people that recorded on the record. Not our ill-fated European tour where nobody really knew the songs, and like we played Rebellion with the driver was some British guy that swore that he played drums and knew all the songs, and we get on stage and he couldn't even really play drums. Just kind of like whacked at him, and they're barely in time or like anything. That was rough. I think we headlined that stage. But it's punk. And also on that tour we played Reading and Leeds, and by that time we had a better drummer because our drummer for the tour got arrested right before his flight, so he missed a couple of shows, and including Rebellion. And we did like Reading and Leeds was one of our last show was at Leeds, and I hadn't changed my guitar strings the whole tour, and I knew that I was going to break a string during the show that day, but I apparently broke it on the very first chord of Immigrants Heavy Rich was the first song. We're all band, and the whole band stopped, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, you broke a string. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't notice. So I'm talking about how because I was going to break a string during the set and tell the crowd. Like you can play Leeds festival. You don't have to be good. You play music, and if you can play it and not be a good band and be punk or whatever and break strings, and this is attainable by everybody here. That was my message, but it didn't go down as well as being the very first thing before we played a song. But I still feel like I got to say it, which is important.
Yeah. So
we also recorded on the BBC. like a couple of days after our real drummer got there, but still, we also changed guitar players because the guitar player was my roommate and he got arrested and extradited to Hawaii, and he didn't tell me that. Anyways, he tried to get a passport, and that's why they ran his name and saw that he had warrants, and so it was a mess. It was a clusterfuck of the best band in the world playing like the BBC and recording, and like I never want to hear that ever, the recording of that, because we did not sound good at all.
Well, so was The Lie of Luck sort of you trying to fix Life Causes Cancer? Let's bring that riff back and make a better song.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there was that. I felt like it was a different song. I mean that kind of the chord progression in different ways. There's different ways to play that, and I'll tell you, it's pretty much these are all similar songs. Life Causes Cancer, Lie of Luck, Crack City Rockers, In Hell. I have to look at a list of songs, but there's at least one or two other songs that are that same progression practically. It's just there's only 12 notes. It's in a different key. Honestly, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think anybody would notice.
All right, so what we got next? We've got
and also, yeah, Life Causes Cancer. We never play that. I don't think that's a good song personally. Like, I think aspects of it are good, but I think Lie of Luck is a way better song. Honestly, we wrote it. I wrote it. I mean, I guess I had that part done, but I wrote it. We recorded it. Me, the guitar player Chris Mann, and the drummer Donnie Morris, both from the band Introspect. We recorded that within a day of me writing it, and then that same day I wrote the lyrics. So within 24 hours, we wrote, learned, recorded, and finished that whole song. Like the lyrics I wrote in the stream of consciousness without having to go back at all and change anything. And it's some of my favorite lyrics, I think. My favorite lyrics, like it comes down to that thing where you collaborate with people, or something kind of goes through you and writes the song. You don't really write it. I didn't dwell on it, so it's practically like I didn't write the song. So I enjoy that song more than most.
Yeah, and well, I think Life Causes Cancer was originally a Star Fucking Hipsters song, wasn't it, in the early days?
Yes, as the other, like when Star Fucking Hipsters was a metal band. Yeah, totally different band. Yeah. It was like one of the only songs that we kind of took from that version and moved over to the other.
Yeah. So yeah, we had the Penis Guy. We already touched on that one. Then Vicious Constructs is next.
Oh, did we touch on the penis guy?
You
I
touched
don't remember
on it.
touching on it. Did you touch on it? Oh yeah, you went to the other room. That was a long piss, by the way. If you touch it more than twice, it's called something else.
Well, I'm excited that you're here. That's what that is.
Yeah. All right. Well.
So Vicious Constructs. What have we got to say about this one?
Okay, that one.
They dig their fingers in your dirt. They poke and prod and plead to extricate your hurt.
That was the next to last song we wrote. That was also written when we were in the studio. Those were both written on piano, kind of. I was staying with some friends in Silver Lake, in LA, kind of right before I went back up to the Bay Area to finish the record, and they had a keyboard set up, and one morning I was just fucking around with it, and I wrote that kind of the riff on one hand, and I did the bass line on the other. And when we tracked that song, I felt like it was called the indie rock song for a while, because I felt like it was kind of like, there's a few songs ever that like there's that song "Only Sleep" from Until We're Dead. Kind of reminds me of like an indie rock song, like maybe something that Pavement might do or something. You ever heard Pavement? Like
Kinda,
something
yeah.
like that. It's like different. It's got different. I kind of felt like um Vicious Constructs. That's what we're talking about. I felt like that was kind of like that. I felt like it was a mix. And then when we finally were doing the vocals, I felt like the verses reminded me of kind of like a mix between Joy Division and Psychedelic Furs. I felt like that's where my voice kind of went. I never really did that voice before that I'm aware of. That kind of like, it was kind of like a gothy vocal. And then the chorus, I was felt like it could have been like something kind of like a Smashing Pumpkins type of thing, like something like Muzzle from Melancholy Infinite Sadness.
Right.
You know that song?
Yeah.
And that's actually where I got like, I had Donnie as like, play a drum fill in that chorus that goes all the way around. I'm like, hits every tom, and I insisted on 3 toms, snare on 3 toms. So I totally ripped that off a Muzzle. You know that song? You can play it and check it out on the thing if you want. Play it for the if anybody checks out your podcast. I don't know if it's just me talking to you for 9 hours, or if anybody actually hears it.
We better move on to the Mall song then, because we got 2 songs left. I think.
Not the Mall song. There's only one thing I hate talking about more. No.
What is that called? That's I can't pronounce it.
Fuck, I gotta read it. It's Amanecer. Amanecer. Is it Eminence? I gotta read it. How you spell the first word? A-M?
Amanecer.
Amanecer. Amanecer de los Muertos.
Yeah.
That sound right?
That's it.
Amanecer de los Muertos. I feel like in my head I pronounced that the first word wrong. That's just Dawn of the Dead in Spanish.
Oh, right.
And Dawn of the Dead takes place in a mall. You know?
Okay.
And it's and the only reason I know that's Dawn of the Dead in Spanish is because when I was in Mexico in the 2000 aughts, I felt like they were still like DVDs were a big thing. I mean, they stayed a big thing in Mexico long after we stopped having them in the States. But you could buy bootleg DVDs at every metro stop in Mexico City, and so I saw that they had the remake of Dawn of the Dead, or Amanecer de los Muertos, and so I was like, all right, that's a cool name for a song, I guess. And it's not too on the nose with the Dawn of the Dead mall references. That's Alec Bailey wrote that song. He had a band which was him called Shitboat, which is a hilarious name. He would just do like songs on 4 tracks, and he gave me a bunch of songs, and I was like, this is my favorite one. I feel like we can definitely. I got ideas for this one, so, and we for some reason when we I don't know why we started singing this, but somehow it became, we're going to a mall. Like, we're going to the mall. Like, if we're on tour and we ended up at a mall, we sang that for some reason. I was like, oh, that's that song. Like, and I was like, it would go like this, and he wrote it, and I was like, cool. Well, I guess that'll be that song. It's about
Did
touring.
you ever play a mall? Is that where?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, we've played many malls. I mean, we've played malls in England. Like, venues that are in, like, a mall, at least in the States, a mall is like a bunch of stores together. It's not necessarily indoors, but you have a pedestrian mall. You know how many venues in England are in a pedestrian mall?
I didn't
Like
know
a pub.
of it.
Where are you at?
I'm near Birmingham.
Birmingham? What's the venues in Birmingham? Where do we play?
Oh,
I feel like we
God.
definitely played in a mall in Birmingham.
Did you really?
I'm sure of it. Yes.
I've never
Because,
been. I've never been to a mall in Birmingham. I've been to like a Wolverhampton shopping centre. There'd be nowhere to play though.
like, no, because, like, all right, have you been to Leicester?
No.
Well, there's a place called the Square in Leicester. That's in the downtown pedestrian mall. Um, there's a lot of places. Fuck if I can remember. I mean, the thing about playing at a mall is that it's not really memorable. When you're playing at a venue that's like in a pub in a mall, it's not really like the place you're not like, yeah, that place. Usually like the legendary venues that are like have been around for 10, 20 years, those are usually not in a mall. You know what I mean? They're usually standalone edge of town or something, you know?
Who was reaching out to Leftover Crack to play in a mall?
Nobody really reaches out and says, "Hey, we're booking you in a mall." You don't find out till you show up, and you're like, "Oh, I see, we're in a mall." There's a lot of places in the states are like in the states we have a mall is like any place like if there's a street and there's like a parking lot that's all like joined together. Like maybe it could be just a 2-lane parking lot, like two places, like a car can park that way and a car can park this way, and then there's a lane for people to go back and forth, and then it goes across the whole block, and then on the other side of that parking lot, there's just businesses. Every like I don't know what a meter is, but like every building length, there's every storefront. There's like maybe 10 storefronts in a row, and one of those storefronts is the pub that has a stage, or it's an all ages venue, and that happens a lot in the States, at least. And we call those malls.
Oh, okay.
But we definitely played in an indoor mall too,
Yeah.
like only once or twice. But
Well, what was that conversation like with Joe from the Dead Milkman? Like, what was the reason to bring him onto that intro?
oh well, so I had played shows with Joe a bunch. When especially when like he played with Leftover Crack before, but we whenever I do a benefit show in Philadelphia, like if someone's like, "Hey, you gonna play a benefit for something?" I'd be like, "Sure," and I'd go and play acoustic. And more like I'd say more than half the time, Joe would be playing acoustic too. And Joe Gennaro, like he sings punk rock roll, and actually, if you ask me, he sings most of the hits of the Dead Milkmen and most of the best songs of theirs. Like Rodney Amadeus sings most of the songs. Like I'd say Rodney Amadeus sings 70% of the songs. Joe sings 30% of songs, but the songs he sings are like the singles and like the favorites usually. Methodist Coloring Book, the stuff as it. I could go through it, but whatever. We're not talking about Dead Milkman. We're talking about me, my band. So he's on tour playing in San Francisco when I'm recording at Motor Studios, and that's where we recorded most of Constructs of the State. And I got in touch. I called him and said, "Hey, would you come and like be on this record?" Like it was that I've always tried to get guest vocalists and guests on our records. I felt like I listen to a lot of hip hop, and when hip hop groups always have guests from other groups, and they kind of do this thing where they like kind of support each other, and combined, like they have a better chance of having a hit song or a song that more people will be into. More people will hear it because they're going to get fans of both groups listening to it, so it just has a better shot of being being a hit or whatever.
You didn't want him to sing on the track.
Well, I did want him to sing, but between sound check, he was on tour, so he was, they were driving and they were getting to sound check, and then there's like, there's only a few hours between sound check and the show, and he didn't have enough time to come out to the studio, which is, probably like, 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive. He didn't have enough time to like sound check, drive there, and then learn something, record it, drive back. Also, he doesn't, Joe doesn't, they don't tour a lot. Maybe Dead Milkman plays San Francisco once every couple of years. He has friends there. He had dinner plans probably, it's like, so I was like, well, if I come to you, can I get you to like help me out? Because he's also famous for doing the intro to Bitch and Camaro, which is one of their hits. I thought that it'd be cool to have him help me do the intro for the song. And it was. And also I felt like Punk Rock Girl. We went down to all the mall to laugh at all the shoppers. And in the video they're doing they have a shot that's like Dawn of the Dead, because Dawn of the Dead is famously filmed in Pennsylvania. It's a very connection, because Dead Milkmen are from Philly. Everybody thinks that Dawn of the Dead is filmed at the King of Prussia Mall, which is near Philly, but it's actually filmed near Pittsburgh. But there's this kind of like folklore. I mean, George Romero invented the modern zombie, really. Like before Night of the Living Dead, there was like movies called Zombie this or whatever, but they're really talking about mummies before that, And he invented the modern zombie. I was gonna say Nazi. Modern zombie. Anyways, there's this whole like connection. There's like this like overthinking ADHD like manic connection of like things.
No, I never put that together, so that was exciting little rush
I
for
don't
me
think
when I just
anybody
found that out.
would. I have to tell them about it, and it's it's cool that there's a thing like that. I don't know.
The War at Home. We've got some crazy electronic stuff going on here. We've never heard this in Leftover Crack before. Where did that influence come from?
So, The War at Home is a song I wrote with the band Introspect. Have you heard Introspect?
I was told to listen to it, yeah.
You should check them out. All right. Essentially, without getting into any like controversy, they were on AF Records, and they really kind of sounded like Anti-Flag, but like I felt like they wrote better songs, and they had just had a cooler thing going on. They had like, it was like Anti-Flag with techno or something. It was heavier, it was like harder, and there's like, but the singer Dave, he definitely sounds like Anti-Flag when he sings, and a lot of their bass lines and songs kind of sound like melodic Anti-Flag style. You can see why Anti-Flag liked them and put them on their label. We did a record together where it started because they had covered Nazi White Trash, and so they're like, "You want to like record this with us?" I was like, "Sure." And then I ended up hearing their demos for the record and really loving a lot of what they were doing, and so I co-wrote some of the stuff. But unfortunately, Brad Logan ended up putting the record out, and he had like this Black Noise imprint on Alternative Tentacles, I believe. It's called Black Noise Records. Thing about Brad is that he doesn't really have foresight about. He wants to make a quick buck. He doesn't care about he doesn't think about like the long game, right? So essentially, he pressured Introspect into like really rushing the recording and rushing the mixing. When it wasn't done, like we could have spent another like week on it and made it sound amazing. We probably could have gotten Fat Records to put it out because Mike was interested in it. But at the end of the day, that recording was just like, it wasn't 100%. It wasn't like what it could have been, because Brad didn't like, I don't know, something about money, and he wanted it done and this and that. And like, I don't know, that dude's a pain in the ass, let me tell you. I mean, I love him, but also he's a pain in the ass. And, he makes rash decisions without really thinking things through a lot. That's how I feel, at least.
So how old is this track?
So that track that was written in 2005 or released in 2005, I think, I don't know. The record is called, I don't know, I can't remember. I think, I want to say the record's called Real Politic, but I think that might be another Introspect record.
No, I was
Can't remember.
talking about the War at Home. Like, how old was that track?
Right, I'm saying that track was, we toured with Introspect in 2005, and that's when at the end of that tour, we were in Kansas, in Lawrence, Kansas, where Brad and his wife lived, Kristen, who's a great artist, by the way, Kristen Farrell. And it was like July 4th. I was doing like this event where I called it the Care Bear Hunt and Slaughter. But regardless, at the end of the tour, I spent like an extra week in Kansas. I would always do that whenever I spent 3 months after the last show in South Africa, because that's how long my visa would allow me there. The rest of the band left after a day. It's like, I don't know if I'm ever making it back here. I'm gonna check it out, you know. So same with Kansas, but I had been to Kansas before because my dad's from Kansas, so I haven't talked to him in like 40 years. So the point is that we recorded that song at the end of the tour at Brad's house. His Introspect was there, and my voice was gone at the end of the tour, and I recorded it anyways, and it's just like, it didn't sound that good because I couldn't really sing that well, and I don't know, it might have ended up on a release or like or maybe on like a compilation. I don't know what it ended up on, but I was never that satisfied with it. And when we were doing, I remember I was in a detox for the first time because I was quitting basically after my best friend Nick died in 2004. This is when I got sober, but I was drinking a lot. I was drinking kind of indiscriminately. I'd stopped doing drugs. And I started taking pills to go to sleep, but benzos. Everybody kept telling me to take benzos and drink and stop taking them, you could die. They kept telling me that over and over. So I was like, all right. After this Australian tour, I went to a detox in Burbank, and I was working on Constructs of the State back then. So, I mean, this is 2007 now. I mean, we had done it, so yeah, 2008. I don't remember exactly. Sorry, this is me how I'm not good at stories. Anyways, the point is that I remember that I couldn't think because they were giving me like phenobarbital, which doesn't make you feel good. It just makes it like, it feels like you can't concentrate. It feels like there's like this big, like a big headache. Like you have a head cold. There's this pressure. I felt like there's pressure in my head that I had to look around to see and to think. I had to think around it. And I remember I was on the phone with someone from Introspect, maybe I think Dave the singer. I asked him, hey, can I get the tracks for that song? I decided I was going to write a song about immigration and like about like illegal aliens and like and policy and how this country is xenophobic and racist, and someone I was hanging out with said, oh well, I was like, I want to make a song like this song, and they're like, you should just redo that song. I was like, that's true, we should, because not a lot of people had heard it, and I didn't like my vocal wasn't that good. So he said, yeah, I have the tracks, all those electronic tracks and the keyboards and stuff, they were already recorded, and he redid his vocal. He had to actually redo everything kind of because all their stuff got stolen out of their van, but it sounds the same to me, and it sounded awesome, and I love that song. And I think when that record was done, the best feeling I had was when I was in a friend's room in this building in C Squat, and they had a really good stereo, and I turned the volume way up and put that song on. And when it's like my verse comes on, the first verse, it's like that kick that has this like reverb to it, like boom, 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 has like this effect on it. So you get this thumping kick with a reverb on it, this flat back, and this piano line. And I was like, man, this sounds like fucking amazing. I love it. Like it really was like really made me like feel satisfied with the record. So I chose that as the closing song, and just I feel like that tied it all together and really made it. I don't know, a lot of those songs on that record I really like, and and also another song that I collaborated on. So it meant more to me and felt better to listen to, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, when I think of Fat Records, I don't think of Leftover Crack. So it's always confused me why you decided to even team up with Fat in the first place. Why go with Fat
Well,
for this album?
well, here's the thing. We never really signed to Fat per se because it was a handshake deal. Like me and Mike talked, and basically he at some point he agreed. He promised that he would put out all like I had a falling out with Joe Biafra, who had Starflight Hamsters, like a record, and he had that Leftover Crack, half of that record, and actually he didn't have that much stuff really. He had Fuck World Trade, but all those records were done on licensing deals, which is to say they had the record for 5 years. And after 5 years, we had the option to renew our contract or to take it and release it ourselves or do whatever we wanted with it. So the falling out happened, and I was on the phone with Jello because I had another band that he said, any band that you play in, we're interested in releasing. I remember I said that he doesn't have good taste in music. He relies on the fact that he knew that when I'm involved in a band, we sold X amount of records. He saw patches of my bands, like especially in Oakland and like Krusty's. These are the people like he thinks are cool. He had told me that. So we had a band. I was living in Austin, and we had a band with like the original drummer from DRI and the bass player from and singer from Phobia. We're kind of like, it was like kind of like a heavier band, which is really up his alley. Joe Biafra loves like kind of like metal. He likes macho music, kind of like he doesn't care. He doesn't really seem to understand the musicality of it, but he knows if it's aggressive, he kind of likes it. Still, he doesn't rely on his own taste to sign bands. If a band has a gimmick, that's a big plus. So for Krusty's, freight train riding Krusty's that have a ska band, he's like, cool. And there's like, mainly he sees their patches everywhere. I got Scarp, Blackbird Realm, and World Inferno all signed to Alternative Tentacles and Witch Hunt, not even knowing it. I didn't like say sign these bands. He just saw that they all toured with us, and he saw their patches around and their T-shirts, and he heard these bands, and so he went after them, and they're all good bands, So it wasn't a bad idea, but it's so that he just saw that like I liked it, so he knew it had some merit to it. So we had a falling out because he said, no, I'm not going to release anything of yours again unless you. He asked me to apologize for something I didn't do in Ireland. Nonetheless, this promoter in Ireland lied about some bullshit. And when Joe Biafra at one point he said, I think I remember seeing you do this thing. And I was like, I gotta go. Like I had already had people like make up lies about me, and I was like, he doesn't even know. He doesn't know if he saw something. Like I know he didn't see anything because when I was outside the show and this promoter came in and talked to me, and when whatever Joe Biafra thinks happened, he was on stage playing, and I was waiting for my friends who lived in Wicklow, and I was waiting for them to take a car, to get a ride back to their place because the end of the tour. I had a bad cold too, and I wasn't feeling good, so I was waiting the show out. I was like, this guy's dangerous. I can't talk to this guy anymore because he doesn't know if he saw something. He's not sure. That's dangerous. If people don't know if they saw something or not, it's like, that's how like someone says, I think I remember like this terrible thing that they fucking made up in their head. And it's like, all right. So I kind of stayed away from him after that. But also I told him like, like I brought it up to the manager who has like I got along with more, who's like more of a level-headed person at Alternative Tentacles. I said, like all our licensing deals are up. Like you guys, if he doesn't want to do his record, that's cool. But I also can take all these records back. And in fact, I even called I was like, I want Deadline back too. And I talked to Mike. I said, Mike, if I get the line from Alternative Tentacles, will you put that out? And will you put out these other records that we put out, like Fuck World Trade and Never Rest in Peace by SFH? I was like, any record that I can get back, he promised that he'd put them out, which is a promise that he broke. But regardless, I didn't, Mike is like a promise keeper, he thinks. He has you record him when he's blacked out drunk and on cocaine, but I'm fucking, I didn't want to record him, and I'm not playing him back shit because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. He changes his mind about shit, but the fact is that I actually had to call Dick Lucas and be like, dude, if you guys can keep your half of that record on Alternative Tentacles all you want, our half is coming off there one way or another. We'll release it on our own as our own record, or you can stick with us and move it over to that, the CD over to, or the vinyl, or whatever was on AT. And they finally agreed to it. They didn't really want to. They liked working with AT, but they knew I was serious, and they trusted me back then. But I told Mike, I was like, I don't want to deal with other labels. I don't want to keep moving records back and forth. I want to just keep them on one label. We just put out this stuff and we'll just keep it on there forever, until the end of time. And he's like, sure. Yeah. He agreed to it. And then, unfortunately his ex-wife showed back up. She had been she was a heavy drinker is all I know. And I don't know if there's other stuff involved, but, and they're divorced, but they still had a kid together, and she got sober, supposedly. I mean, I never seen her sober, but she got sober and came back and started working at. Half the label was hers in the divorce, right? So she came back and became the acting manager because Mike was always on tour. He was filming Backstage Passport. He's doing a million things. He got really busy, more than any time in his career, and so his ex-wife took over, and it took me a really long time, till after we were off the label, to realize that she was super, was just working against us the whole time. People don't know that we were on Fat because once she was involved with Fat, she made sure that we weren't mentioned as a Fat band, really. They did there's so much stuff. There's 3 people at Fat that actively worked against us, and I don't know why. I can't imagine, I don't know, what their reasoning is or why they would want something they were invested in, especially someone that owned half the label wanted our record to not do well.
But are you heartbroken over this? Because I just don't see why you would want to be on Fat anyway.
I am heartbroken over it. I mean, yeah, and for a lot of reasons. At the time, by the time I was talking to Mike about, we were leaving Alternative Tentacles, I was talking to Mike. Over time, over 15 years, I became really good friends with Mike. He was one of my better friends. And I trusted him, and he always kept his word as much as he could. And when his ex-wife came back on the scene, here's the best example I can tell you, and this is how naive I am. I still didn't understand or see that Aaron Burkett was against me and my bands when Construct of the State was to be released. We had a release date in 2015. It was in the summer, and it was supposed to be June something. We had a tour. We had booked a month-long tour to support that record that started the day it came out. Fat Mike was on tour, and in the meantime, we got all our artwork and everything in time, because you need to get it in 4 months in advance so they have the vinyl and it's all ready at the same time. And when the vinyl, they had the vinyl and everything, the CDs, she said, no, I'm moving your release date. She moved it to the last day of our tour. And she said, it's because I don't agree with your contract with Mike. I'm so fucking stupid that I didn't see right then that she didn't want us to do well. I mean, there've been plenty of other clues, but I'm naive, and I was just trying not to be paranoid. they did a 25th anniversary show of Fat Records in SF. It was a 2-day thing. We were releasing Cosmic State. We were working on it. We had put out the split on Deadline. We'd done a Star Fucking Hipsters record, all that, and they did it at the Parkside again, but they did it on the street. So it was a big festival. There's probably thousands of people there, and they invited every single Fat Records band except for my bands. And I lived in Oakland. I was living in Oakland, which was like 45-minute bar. It was like a tube ride away from the club and Fat Records. My bass player lived in Sacramento. Drummer and guitar player lived in LA. And one member, who was the other guy? Frank, or no, not Frank. Fucking, I can't remember. Everybody in the band lived in California. Chris was playing with us. Oh, maybe we had Ian from Riverboat Gamblers at that time, and he might have lived in Austin, I think. Yeah, but the whole point is that the whole band was in California, and when I saw that they were going to do this anniversary show, I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, I asked Mike. He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Erin's in charge," and she just told me, "Oh, it's full. Sorry. We just don't have room on the bill for you guys. It was booked like a long time ago or whatever." And I was like, okay, check this out. Then next thing we know, Propaganda drops off the bill. Propaganda is playing they're like third from last or second from last on one of the days. They drew as many people as we drew in the Bay Area. Political punk band. They were if one band that we could replace that would make sense, it's Propaganda. That was our spot. We could draw as many people as they drew. They weren't exactly the same people, but same draw. In the Bay Area at least. And we weren't asked to play. They asked at the end of the day. They asked Sick of It All did some kind of 7-inch for them a long time ago, and they got Sick of It All to play instead of us. And it's like they weren't really on the label, and I don't even know if they drew what we drew in the Bay Area. I don't know. I mean, people know who they are, but it's like they weren't really, I don't think they would have I don't know. I don't think people were as happy to see them as they would have to see us take that place. But again, I was oblivious, so fucking stupid. I can't believe how stupid I was.
Was any of that happened with Alternative Tentacles or Fat the reason that the making of the 3,000 Miles Away music video was taken off YouTube? It popped up one day, it was there for a couple of days, and then it disappeared. It's nowhere to be seen.
The making of it?
Yeah, there was a making of video.
The skate video. It's what's it called? The Briggs or something, or the.
No, there's no skate video.
But I know. But the guy, it was a guy hosting it. The guy hosting it was he usually interviewed skaters and stuff. He didn't do bands much.
Oh, okay.
But he was a guy. I can't remember what it was called, the Briggs or something like that, or whatever you call the quarters for soldiers. I think that was the name of the thing. But I didn't notice that it was taken down. It was. You think it was up for 2 days and then it went away?
Yeah, a few days. It popped up for me. I was excited. I watched it, and then I thought...
Wait, how long ago were we talking?
Yeah, probably 12, 13, 14 years
so
ago.
when the video came out, around that time...
Yeah, probably around that time.
I didn't know that it was only up for a couple of days. I mean, I saw it a bit. I never heard that it was taken down.
Yeah,
You're the first person. Maybe in the UK?
Well, maybe. I mean, if you have it, could you send it to me? Do you have it digitally?
I mean, I don't know if I have it, but I feel I'd have to remember the name of that show, but nobody, I don't know. I feel like that might have been an isolated thing for the UK because I never heard about that. Someone would have told me, but to be fair, we're talking 2010, 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
Really? I never heard that. I mean, I felt like I saw it. I feel like I saw it when it came out, but I didn't. I didn't notice it taken down. That's weird. No, that wouldn't have anything to do with Alternative Tentacles
No.
because we were on that label for a long time. I think until like at least 2013 or so. Maybe that's when I had like a falling out or something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that at the end of the day, I realized that the manager of Fat Records at the time, a guy named Chad that went on to manage Pirates Press, the PR person, Mutiny PR, which is a girl named Vanessa Burt. She was the PR person for Fat, and every time we did a release for Fat, Start Fucking Hipsters or Leftover Crack, anything, she would like she like Alternative Tentacles did a great job with PR. Even when I had a falling out with Jello for a year or two after that, their label manager still got in touch with me whenever there was a press request, and he just forwarded it to me because why not? It's not like it's no skin off their back, and it's like we agreed on our politics, you know. So they forwarded it. It was actually John Giannoli from the singer from Pansy Division was in charge of their maybe he did their PR, but or the manager. I don't know which he was, but he was in charge of that stuff, the interview requests and things like that at AT, and he forwarded them to me. And this whole time I'm on Fat releasing records, and we're not getting any. The only interviews that I did one for Vice Noisy because the guy requested us in particular. That's the only time, or if there's like some year-end thing, like your favorite records of the year, when the year a record came out, we'd be included. But other than that, we never got any press. So every time we put a new release out, I'd be like, Mike, can we just get an independent press person, a PR person? Because just I don't know, I just feel more comfortable getting someone else. I just don't feel like we got good press or whatever. And then 2 or 3 times, this is how naive I am, he would come back and say, I talked to Vanessa. She says she loves your band. She wants to do the press really bad. Like, give her another chance. And every time I kept, more than twice, shame on me, right? It kept being like, I kept being okay. And I kept letting her just not do any press for us. And it wasn't until like after we were off the label for a while that I realized like, oh, these people actually were like, I think that they were like somebody else, somebody outside the label approached these people and gave them incentive to not help us out as a band. And like 2016, after Constructs came out, I just recently got a bunch of like my inbox on Instagram was flooded, both Leftover Crack Official and Crack Eddie Kane, which is my personal Instagram. They were both flooded with direct messages that had been withheld since 2016. And like, for instance, Leftover Crack, I got thousands, like over 2,000 messages that were never sent to us since 2016. They weren't filtered out. They were just never sent. They were like withheld by Instagram. Now, I had noticed over the years, over the last like 10, 15, 11 years, ever since Constructs came out, I mean, we played Riot Fest, we played Reading Leeds, we did all these huge festivals everywhere, Hellfest, Amnesia Rock Fest in Canada. We played these, like the biggest festivals, most of them that you could do in Europe and the United States. And our followers on Instagram never grew beyond like, it always hovered around 22,000 and it never went up. And, you know, I don't obsess on like, you know, who's following us. We already had 22,000 people. I'm not going to look, but if I would look and see every day, there's like hundreds of people that are following us. I didn't see hundreds of people unfollowing us. But I just assumed, okay, I guess it's balancing out. But once all those messages came back, I realized, okay, that makes sense now. They've been fudging our numbers. They've been fucking them up, messing with them since 2016. They've been withholding our messages and withholding our followership. by not, I remember because that's when I put in, back then it was free to get a check mark if you had like over 5,000 followers. And so I requested both my personal Instagram and the band's to see if we get like whatever certified or whatever. And they never wrote me back. And that's when they shadow banned me. I think it's called shadow banning. And I only like I'd heard that happened. I remember a few years ago I was selling paintings, and I just every time I put a painting up, we'd get like maybe 500 likes on it or something. And then one day I put paintings up, and I got like 20 likes, and nobody saw it. And I was like, I feel like the algorithm, like they did change the algorithm. That's when they started the dead internet theory, where it's like they changed it, where it's like they showed you what they wanted you to see and not what people wanted to see in particular. I feel like around then it really went down. I didn't want to try selling paintings when I had people that were trying to destroy my life that took I didn't want to give them anything to cheer about, right? Because if I had tried to sell paintings and like 20 people saw it, nobody bought it, they would have fodder to be like, oh yeah, this guy's a fucking loser. Nobody wants to buy his paintings, Up until then, every painting I put up, I sold, It's like, so I stopped selling paintings, and I was just like, all right, whatever, fucking, I guess that shit's over. There's a big difference between how well your band does when you have 100,000 followers and when you have 20,000. You get paid more to play shows. The fact is, if we had, I don't know, however many we'd have today, if the numbers weren't like weird, if they just like let us have the followers that were actually following us, I think it would have been a lot more difficult to cancel me. Shit, I gotta recline that. Sorry.
Well, on that subject, was Fat originally supposed to release new Choking Victim material?
Yes, they were. Yeah, we did a live record for them.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is that Aaron, we were supposed to play Red Rocks with no effects, and it's the only time that because Mike was my friend that I didn't have him go through our booking agent. He's wanted to go directly through me. He's like, we're friends, go directly through you. I was like, okay. Our booking agent was like, you shouldn't have done that because now you guys are kicked off that show because from Mike told me that what's the guy that does the Warped Tour?
Kevin Lyman, yeah.
What he said is that Kevin Lyman was involved in that show and he wanted us kicked off the show. I don't know. Kind of sounds like bullshit to me, but I mean, Mike's in charge. It's his band, but at the same time, like, I think with his ex-wife, there's the question of custody of their kid, and I think that she hung that over his head when she wanted him to do stuff. And I don't blame him for not fighting for us when I understood that he had to fight for a lot of things himself for himself and for his custody of his kid with her. And I don't think choosing a battle that wasn't involved in that was in the best interest of him and his family, and that makes sense, but at the same time, it's like that would have been cool to play. Red Rocks is like where U2 did their Sunday Bloody Sunday video. It's an amphitheater in Colorado, and it's like a big deal. I don't know, supposedly a really cool place to play. It's like in the nature. It's in nature, carved out of the rocks. So she was really, I guess she was excited to kick us off that show and to tell us that they weren't going to release any new music from my bands. And I brought up to her, I was like, well, if you don't want to put out anything new, you can't have the old records. She didn't realize that our contract was shaken on. There's the AT contract, 5 years. Everything was run out except for leftover crack. So they had that for a little longer, and then now it's ours. But or supposedly ours. We said they could sell the rest of their copies. The point is that it took me a really long time to understand that she was working against us the whole time, And the reason, like, I talked to a lot of people that said they had no idea we were fat ever, and it's because she was in charge of the label, and she made sure that we were kind of wiped from any press releases, or like it was kind of kept. We were kept out of the minds of the fat listeners,
Yeah.
and we were kicked off the festival, the anniversary festival. Like, there's one song, there's like a triple CD that is like the 30 or 25 or 30 years of fat, and on one side of one of the records there's a live version of Immigrants and Hypocrites by Starflying Hamsters, but there's nothing else by any of my bands, and it's every other band's on there. Like, the first side's just greatest hits or whatever. No if there were crack songs, no choking, no nothing, you know. And they also didn't want to release the Choking Victim live, which is cool, because then one of the things, because Mike felt bad because it was out of his hands apparently. I don't know how he gave us the record. He's like, you guys can have it, even though they paid to like record it and stuff. She was super like upset about that, but it's like, I don't know. He was just trying to like make up for it, you know.
So that will come out.
It'll come out, yeah.
Oh,
I have it. Honestly, the person that made me decide that I should learn Pro Tools to do a new record, he made a mix of it that sounded bad, and I just was sick of. I felt like he also was working against us, and he was supposedly our manager for like 7 or 8 years, and he literally did nothing for us ever. He actually has a YouTube, or he's got an Instagram or YouTube. He gives advice to bands how to like get your band popular or get heard, or, you know, get your plays or whatever, getting algorithms. And at the same time, he was our manager and didn't do anything for us. Suspicious.
Well,
And he kept he kept not working on the record, and he kept dragging his feet and not caring about how things sounded and not listening to stuff. And it's like, I'm not that fucking stupid.
yeah, I mean, you guys don't need fat. You don't need any kind of management, really. I mean, you've built this legacy now. Leftover Crack is a massive legacy. And we'll have to wrap this up because the recording's going to stop. But Mr. Crack, this has been very exciting to get you back on. I hope to get you back on in the future as well.
You'll get me back on in the future. You might as well start bothering me tomorrow, because by this... When did we do the other one? A year ago?
Almost 2 years ago now.
Really, fuck it, man. And we've been talking about doing this one for over a year, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, let's talk about the new record when it eventually comes out. How about that?
Hell yeah. And we've got the 30th anniversary of Choking Victim to talk about as well, that album.
When's that?
Maybe 2-3 years time.
Which album? The No Gods?
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the cool thing. We played the Regent Theater in LA. It was the first tour that Leftover Crack did in like 4 years. And John Dolan and Sasha, the original bass player and drummer, were at the show, and they came up and sang 500 Channels with me. And it was so cool because that was it. That was Choking Victim. It was me, John, and Sasha. And then Squirt came to practice a lot, and then he took over, and then Sasha left, went to college, and Alec came in and then left, and Shane came in and left. Alec, Shane. So it was cool to spend that 25th anniversary. I didn't know that day. It was that day at the Regent Theater. But now LA was where Hellcat, all that stuff was, and that's where we recorded the record. So pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
To have that. That was like, what are the chances? Really, that's like really synchronistic. I don't believe in like powerful. I don't believe in powerful forces beyond humans doing stuff. Conspiracies, but I think that was cool, and that was a cool coincidence. Quinky dink, wink wink.
We only believe in the power of crack.
Imagine the power of crack compels you. Imagine the skeletons in this dude's closet. That was just me. You're joking. I was in the closet.
All right then, Stza, we'll have to wrap it up, man. We'll have to get out of here.
I'll be back.
Stay
I'm coming
in touch.
back. It'll be my third coming. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
And I was crucified by the state, and I feel like Judas was constructing a narrative, but he was my friend, and I said, it's okay. I still forgive you. And, forgive yourself first, and then forgive your parents. I forgive you, Dad, Daddy, Roman soldiers. I forgive you, Mel Gibson. I forgive you. All right.
All
And
right.
Max, peace out. Right.
All
And
right,
then
dude.
I'll see you next time, right?
Yeah, man. I'll see you next time, brother.
All right. Cheers, bro. Bye.
Peace out.